And we are live, Mr.
We're
Glenn
live.
Morshower.
I'm excited to be live.
I forgot to do the intro. Hold on. I can do that. Just kidding.
You weren't live.
We're live.
Oh, we are live.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Well, let me get excited. I need to forward this out. Here we go. Share.
Yeah.
Boom.
Share it out.
Share. Boom in public and
Share it out
to a page. I'm going to share it to my Extra Mile group.
Dude, Kelly Combs already shared this out too. Kelly Combs.
Wow, Kelly moves quickly, huh?
She showed up to like play. She ain't playing. Larry Schneider, Kelly Combs, Larry Schneider, Do Over Ken, LOL. Hey, Lynn Serrano, Sandy Archer. There's Roxy Maddox, an extra miler in the house.
Extra milers show up from all corners of the universe.
Scott Ricard. I just want to say Ricard every time.
Ricard. It's almost like Ricky Ricardo from years ago in the I Love Lucy show.
Right.
Hello, Ricky. Okay. We're going to have a good time.
That's right.
Scott, hello, Scott. Nice to see you.
So,
Ken, I know you have good news. I've got good news. We all have good news. You know what? Hey, I want to open with that. We all have good news.
We do.
Everybody has good news. It all depends upon where you send your focus.
Yes.
What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what's wrong? Are you focusing on what's right? And we even have a point to our madness tonight, don't we, Ken? Don't we have a target for what we're going to be talking about? It seems that we chose a subject, didn't we?
Are we going to sell my course?
I think it's the only reason we're here. I don't mind being used. Not at all. Like, did you want to eat dinner or help me sell my course? I'm totally playing with Ken. He never said anything like that.
That is so funny.
In fact, I'm the one that called him and said, you want to go live, dude? We take turns. You know, one of the two of us will call one another and we'll get into this great conversation. And then we say, why don't we just take it live? And here's the thing. We are just arrogant and elitist enough to believe that it has some merit, right? We're talking, and both of us are under the misguided impression that what's being said could possibly be worthwhile.
Oh my God.
Which I think is great fun. You know, I'm in a really, really good mood. It's common for me to be in a good mood, but we want to talk a little bit about how you get the train back on the track.
Yeah, that's one metaphor.
Right. I mean, if you had a couple of others.
No.
Well, offer the one that you had in your title, and then I'll counter with another one that I use a lot as a teaching tool.
Tracy Swanson, did you leave Michigan without coming down here to see me? Are you back in Arizona?
Hey, Ken, why am I not getting comments in the comment section?
Seriously?
Live viewer comments show up on StreamYard.
You don't see them? Nothing.
I've got nothing on the right-hand side of my screen.
Well, refresh.
Now, okay, there. What's up, fellas? I've seen one comment that came in at. Okay, so maybe I'll hit the.
Kelly. Yeah, I think he just hit the refresh button. He said, I'll hit the. Are you there till Sunday? You said, I'll hit the. You were gone.
Yeah, I was hitting the refresh key.
Yeah.
You did the comments. You see
there. Hallelujah.
You know, it really pays. There's so many benefits for those of you vying for candidacy in Ken Wall's life. There are so many advantages to knowing Ken. And sometimes you're just involved in the middle of a simple task, like trying to wipe your butt, and you don't know what to do.
Oh my gosh.
And you call Ken, and he has your answers.
Oh my!
And it's spectacular. No, moments ago I was without a comment section,
and now
I have it, and that's directly attributable to your expertise.
Well, you're welcome, Agent Pierce.
Noted. At ease, soldier. At ease.
I'm sorry, General Morshower. So, Josh Clark is in the house. Josh, good to see you, man.
Hello, Josh.
Great.
Hello, Tracy Swanson and Andrea. Corey
there's
Calvin in the
Andrea.
house. Corey Calvin in the house.
Corey is an amazing dude, man. He's an amazing dude. So we were
talking,
and I said, you called me, and I literally was like getting ready to call you, but I wanted to get a graphic thing done first.
Well,
so I was
be more specific. When you answered the phone, you said, talk to me. What are you wearing?
I did say that, but
talk to me. But it was in kind of a hush tone.
Anybody.
It was talk to me. What are you wearing? Which is a peculiar way to have your friend answer the phone, but
it is very peculiar. Okay. That's why I would never do that. So anyway, hey, Don Green is watching. Don Green is the president and I think CEO is his title of the Napoleon Hill Foundation.
Oh,
he knows our good buddy Jeffrey Gittimer really well.
We love Jeffrey.
Jeffrey is amazing.
Jeffrey Gittimer should be watching from time to time. We watch him in the mornings. He should pop on from time.
He does.
He does.
He does actually. Yes.
We love you, Jeffrey. We love your personality. We love your bigness. We love your unfilteredness, which I think is I think it's an accurate description. Is you offer no apology to anyone for your beingness, and I love that, and I also admire it. And you're damn good at what you do.
He's very good at it.
If you want me to be a part of your program from an actor's angle, which you indicated, the answer is yes. When I said I'm in, I wanted to be clear of what I was referring to. It wasn't for the next day's broadcast or whatever, but it was for part of a program when and if you decide to do that. I'm happy to be a part of that, Jeffrey. We love you and we're grateful for you.
Hello, Cowboys from Sandy McNichol. And yeah, Jeffrey, I think I told him.
Hi, Sandy.
Wow, we have a couple there's Jerry Acuff is on now. Jerry Acuff, dude, is legit.
Tell me about Jerry Acuff. And then don't forget your train of thought about when we
Jerry Acuff has trained, I would say somewhere around 70 to 80% of the entire pharmaceutical industry salespeople. Like he's a big, big dude. He knows, and he now. I'm trying to think if I almost wanted to say he lived or has a house or a business or something in Texas, but I could be wrong. But Jerry Acuff is a legend, man. I
really know that name, and I'm not connecting the dots.
You may have sincerely know the name with him.
Maybe that's what it is.
He's
my apologies, Jerry, for not remembering, but I do know your name.
He's a great dude, man. Great guy. He left me a voicemail yesterday, and I need to call him or text him first. But anyway, so yesterday I was Randall. Do you see Randall? That's funny. That is funny. Randall does have credentials. He's lying.
That's funny.
That's hilarious. Roy Acuff.
There's Charles Coachman. We
What's
love
up,
Charles.
Charles. How you doing? So Joe Ingram, I see, just joined us. Uh-oh.
Hello, Joe.
We're in trouble now. So
Joe's always good for a laugh. Always.
Always. Every single word, almost.
So you chose tonight's topic, and what was your wording?
I don't remember now.
I thought you posted it.
Well, it's from going from madness to greatness.
And there was a part 2 to that, I think, wasn't there?
No.
Was
there?
I don't know.
I'm not the one that posted about a couple of things. What was it? Just throw it out there. I'm not scared.
Well, it's just the idea of taking a life that is not operating at maximum efficiency and doing something about it and getting a possibly derailed train back on course.
I recall now.
And we're talking basically about a vibrational upgrade. This is what we would call it in metaphysics, to trade in your existing vibration and make sure that it is an upgrade and not a downgrade. So, for example, for those of you that play Monopoly, one of the references I often make on stages is you just don't want to make any boardwalk to Baltic trades, right? That's from hero to zero. You're trading the best for the worst.
Right.
And there's an expression that often shows up there, which is fool's gold. And I think that's how people wind up, Ken, trading in the boardwalk equivalent in their life from ghetto to gala. Nice.
I love that, actually.
I like that. And it's, as some people may say, gala or gala, but I think both are acceptable. It's the same thing with data and data. I've discovered that it's about 50% of all people say data and the other say data. I'm a data sayer, and I took my lead off of Star Trek: The Next Generation and the character.
I use both. It's like potato.
Right. And we often say potato right before they have us institutionalized, typically. Oh
my God.
So yeah, but I think what happens is when we look at those times in our lives, and we've all done it, raise your hand if you haven't done it. You're not going to have me raise my hand because I have, Ken has, we all have at some point made what could be labeled a poor trade. And I think that the way poor trades happen, Ken, when people trade boardwalk for Baltic, using this Monopoly metaphor, is that there is some sort of fool's gold facade in the Baltic where we actually think the property is better than it is. And so we get smitten with whatever possibilities exist there. And then all of a sudden the curtain is pulled back, the facade is taken away, and sometimes the fangs back behind that big broad-toothed smile come out, and we're in a bad way. So we want to talk about how to notice patterns when your life is slipping and what to do about it.
Right. So what and so just a little side road here for a minute. In Next Generation, that's Star Trek, right?
Yeah, let me just say thank you before we roll into this to Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking. I want to talk about what he's talking about. So that's Star Trek. Did you have one of the alien accents, when I played the character of Orton? When I played Orton, you played what?
Orton. It was Orton. Orton, who was the head of the Arcarian base. He was the head of the Arcarian base. And here's the thing. If I'd gone in and read Orton like this, they would have said, let's go with no. Go ahead and check the no box on this butthole.
Oh, my God.
So I laid a little Orton voice on them, and they liked it.
And that was, you made that voice up?
Yeah, me and my vocal cords got together and created a desired outcome. Hello, Carrie Lynn Carter.
Carrie Lynn. Hey, Carrie
well, this
Lynn.
is, on Thursdays or Fridays, sometimes we do the Glenn and Ken show or the Ken and Glenn show.
Or just the Hey, What's Up show.
Right.
He played a Secret Service agent for Captain Picard.
Actually, my first voyage because I don't want to get off topic here, but I'll just say the first experience that I had on Star Trek was on my 30th birthday, precisely.
Wow.
So I turned 30 aboard the Starship Enterprise.
Did you really?
I did. And
where were you guys? What galaxy were you in?
I took over Worf's position, who was away that week. And so I was there at the top of the bridge, and I had no idea. I'd never seen an episode. And it was really interesting when they were giving me notes. I had to lean on people who knew more about the ship than I did. And anyone who knew anything about the ship knew more than I did. But it was great. And I went on to do 4 more Star Treks, each one of them different after that, which was phenomenal.
That's so cool.
And the fans are the greatest fans in the world. They come up to you, 30, this was 31 years ago. And I had people coming up to me on the street and quoting dialogue and asking me why I made the decisions that I made.
Really?
Really. Like, why did you choose to do that? Right? Why did you say that to Wesley? And I'm going, because the script said so. which is kind of an unsatisfactory response. They want to believe that it was something deep within you that felt a sense of conviction.
That son of a bitch needed to hear it.
Right. I love this standard line. You can get away with this because he was out of line. And then walk away. I don't even know what that means, but it's pretty funny. All right. So on point.
That's fun. Okay. So guide me back on point.
Well, we're talking about basically taking yourself into the shop, which is a shop that you own because it's you.
Yeah.
So you are the shop, you are the lift, you are the car, and taking yourself into the shop for a tune-up when you don't feel like you're operating on all cylinders. Not all cylinders are firing. Yeah. What is this? Glenn used his left hand to activate the long-range sensors, and everyone knows that Worf uses his right hand. Is there any way you can ban Joe from the show?
I can, actually. You want me to right now?
You nutcase. We love you, baby.
Hubs and I saw Glenn in Wichita Falls in April of 2019. He shared great insight and referenced our notes often. Thanks for these great discussions. Come on with it. Come on with it.
Come on with it. That's awesome, Sandy. That was a wonderful outing at a church in Wichita Falls. We did a beautiful fundraiser up there. It was a really, really good evening. That's awesome. I took the stage. Ken, I never told you this. I took the stage by bounding up the stairs, which I think right off the bat, once you've entered your 60s and you're flying upstairs, people look and are going, what is this kid on? Because from the top of his head, he's close to 80, and yet he's bounding up the stairs. That's right. That's at least impressive. So maybe he's going to talk about energy and aliveness. And I reached over and grabbed the guitar that was positioned strategically up against the wall. And no one's heard me open playing guitar, including me, because I don't play guitar. But I did it. Put the strap on and everything and got ready to play. And I'm looking out at everybody and dedicated the opening song to them and said, I'm just kidding. And then I put the guitar down. But it was fun. Church. Yeah, but it was fun to see, how that feels to strap on your guitar for a big concert when you don't even play guitar.
Glenn, that's Doug Wing. Say hello to Doug. He is the guy from the Little Giant Ladder Company. He was supposed to be on the show this morning, and he had a little health issue he had to resolve, and so we're going to get him rescheduled. But do you have any of his ladders?
No, you shared with me
the story. Phenomenal. You got to get one, dude.
Well, I may have to get one. No, I mean have to, because I've got these 30-foot ceilings in our front entryway, and there's no access to those lights when they burn out. And so far, we use those lights so infrequently that they're still there, and not one has burned out in the 8 years we've lived here. 8 years shows you how often we don't use those lights. But when we use them, they eventually will burn out, and I want to be able to get up there and change them. So
and a $300 ladder is exactly what you need to get for that.
Right. No, that's the good math, is to spend $300 on a ladder on a $4 light bulb, which is awesome. We call that the new math.
The new math.
So Ken, share some thoughts with the audience about having some adjustments that
when and by the way, Facebook user is over probably in the Grow Live group, and we can't see your name until you register. So go to StreamYard.com/Facebook or jump over on one of my other pages so we can see your name. So, we go through, we go through things in life, and some of us start shooting movies at 16 years old, and life is magical and never a problem or a challenge ever. I'm just kidding.
Whose life are you talking about? Certainly not a depiction of mine.
I'm playing with you, man. But we, some people from the outside, how about this? From the outside, it looks like life is easy for some people. And that's not necessarily the case. It's not the truth. Life is difficult. M. Scott Peck opened up his amazing book with that sentence, The Road Less Traveled. But what I think happens to some people, including me, is we get stuck. Things go wrong, or several things go wrong. Maybe it's even one thing goes wrong, and then we let it kind of turn into multiple things because we get into that negative mindset and it starts spiraling. And the more negative we are, the more we're thinking negative thoughts, the more we literally attract more negative situations into our life.
Without a doubt.
And I think a lot of people, Carrie Lynn is very happy you're back to the fuzzy.
I just saw that. And Yasmin Ryback just called me. That's why I looked down for a minute and I hit can't talk right now.
Oh, well, tell her to hop on the show and hang out. So Brian,
I'm listening, but that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So, life gets crazy sometimes, and we allow ourselves, and yes, we allow it. And this is the craziest part. When you really sit back and you dissect it and you really think about it after you've had a shift and you look at it and you go, man, I freaking allowed that for so long. Sometimes days, weeks, months, years, hours. It could be decades even, that you allow your life to be in this negative place when in fact it does not have to stay there. The law of attraction, what we think about, all of the stuff we've talked a lot about, you and I both have talked on together and on our own individual streams. You look like you have something to say.
Not at all.
Oh,
I seldom have anything to say.
You have brilliance to say. Julie Strickler, how in the world are you? Just want to say hi to a couple people. I saw that Juliana Briscoe is in here.
Oh, Juliana's been with us.
Juliana.
She's been with us for a long time over the
extra mile. Yeah.
Yeah. We love Juliana. She's fantastic.
So I think, and I want to hear what you have to say about this, especially.
Sure.
People are programmed, or they are stuck in a downward spiral of negativity because of circumstances or things that happened or went wrong. And they forget how to dream. They forget that you can dream. It's okay to dream, and it's okay to pursue your dreams, not just sit around
or even have them.
Have them. Thank you. I was telling, where was I? I was on somebody was interviewing me on a podcast or something, or where was it? No, maybe it was, I was interviewing somebody. I mentioned you. I was interviewing somebody yesterday, and I mentioned you, and I said, Glenn talks about the phrase, if you could be anything you want, what would that be? And the one word change. And I'll let you talk about that, but talk a little bit about dreaming too. You can finish what I was just talking about, but I want people to hear you talk about how important it is to dream, because you've reached some amazing levels in your career, man. And, I can walk through an airport. I could walk through literally 100 airports and never get stopped, probably going, hey, aren't you that guy? And you can't do that.
Well, I can during COVID, because during COVID, with a mask on, anonymity has been restored.
Right.
There's Yasmin.
And
thank you for recognizing that indeed we are gentlemen.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the dreaming stuff.
I think that it comes down to maybe just a couple of slight word alterations. And I'm certainly not anti the word dream. It's part of my vernacular, but also just your vision. And the reason that I don't use the word dream a lot, it's not off of my list, by the way. I have not removed it from my playbook. By the way, I'm not going to read the screen every time or I'll lose my train of thought here.
Right.
But I'll go back and see whatever was illuminated. But with regard to dreams, and guys, feel free to chime in your thoughts about this. But one of the words that seems to be used to modify the word dream or dreams plural is lofty. Lofty. We hear that to describe a person's mind often as, well, and it's usually said in a derogatory manner with a slightly rolled set of eyes or a crooked mouth that says, yeah, well, she's known for her lofty dreams. Classic example of undue and unwelcome sarcasm. So what it presupposes is that you'll never obtain them. And this is the very issue that I have with the line, if you could do anything you wanted, or if you could be, it starts and is camped out in the presupposition that you and I both know you can't. Whoever's saying that to you when they say, if you could be anything you wanted to be, what would it be? That is, it has a built-in presupposition that you can't. If you could, what would it be? If you could, well, if I could have small bats fly out of my butt, I mean, that's an if you could, but the reality is we can. And to me, that's where the train starts out rolling down the track, or it starts out, Ken, I think more than 50% of the time. It's unimportant to come up with an exact guess. At best, it would be a guesstimation.
Yeah.
But there is a more than 50% of the time, I happen to believe that the life train of faith, belief, optimism, and visioning gets derailed pulling away from the station. I think it gets derailed at the beginning of its trip with the assumption, what is this? The bats can't get past the baloney. For someone coming in for the first time and listening to us, they wouldn't have a clue what Ron's talking about. And here's the beautiful thing. We're not going to tell you.
Yeah,
we're not going to even tell you. We're just going to have to let you hang out a little bit until these dots are pieced together. But I think it really comes down to, do you even, I call it estimating the havability of things. What is your estimated havability of things? Okay, so the EH, the estimated havability. So do you see things as havable? Forget that you wish for them, forget that you want them, forget that you hope for them. Do you in fact see them as havable? Because it starts and ends right there. If you don't really see it as havable, but you want it, you're going to have hell manifesting it. I mean, absolute hell. And I don't want to say never, because I think that's too extremist, but very seldom are favorable outcomes manifested with those as our terms. When we really don't see it, we don't estimate the havability of it as, of course, makes sense, makes total sense to me. And if that's not our mindset, then we're swimming upstream from the get-go. So in acting, we use the term acceptance. We say that the reality you're portraying has got to be acceptable. Now, I want to quote Bob Donnell, who talks about the law of acceptability. And what he says is that which becomes acceptable becomes inevitable. I would rank that quote from Bob as one of the 10 greatest quotes I've ever heard, which is obviously high praise. Yeah. But what he means by this is that everything that is ultimately going to come about, right, seeing it as inevitable, and he and I have a great kind of partnering teaching on that subject about the law of inevitability. But if it's going to bear fruit, if it's going to manifest, then it has to enter through the room of acceptability first. So if you think about it, something has to become acceptable to your mind, and that's on the plus or minus, the pro or con. So if something, let's say you're doing something that is detrimental to your life, it has to become acceptable here. And I wrote a chapter about it called The Room Next Door. And Ken, this is where I think lives get derailed, is it isn't that the thing itself becomes acceptable. Just imagine one of the worst case plans of deterioration. Imagine that. And imagine, let's decide that there is a room of behavior that you would never allow yourself in. You would, like, you can look at there's room A, there's B, there's C, there's all the way down. And you look at, let's say, room, we'll call it L or K, somewhere in that range. And you say, well, I would do this here. I would do that. I would never do that. And you know, that's a behavior I'll never do.
Yeah.
Well, what the room next door teaches is then you better not do what's next door to it. And that we actually achieve greatness and deterioration incrementally.
Yep.
This is why one of my religions is the religion of incrementalism. I'm making this term up as a religion, but it means that we both build and we assemble and disassemble things incrementally. So if you go to the room next door to that behavior, now you're literally only a simple turn of a doorknob away from entering into a room that you knew you didn't want to go. You knew it. But the problem is you've allowed things to deteriorate and you've inched your way down to where it's just a next door choice. And the minute a choice is no longer far-fetched, there is such a good chance that you will do it, that you will say yes to it, because it's right up there under your nose, because you have walked yourself all the way into the room next door. This is such a powerful thing to understand. So if we, and that ties in with Bob's teaching, is that if it becomes acceptable to be in room, let's say K, then what's the big deal about accessing room L? Right. So it's become acceptable. And the minute it does, the next stop is that it becomes inevitable. So we've decided to use this to our advantage. So that law can be used to deteriorate, and it also can be used to enhance. And that's the one we want to focus on. Thank you, Carrie, for that support. Thank you, Christy. So in order to help us, let's take a look at that. If we want to bolster our lives, then we want to work our way down to the room next door, to the room we ultimately want to enter, but we will not gain entrance into that room until it becomes acceptable for us to be in that room. And that's a mental game. Now, I want to make a recommendation here, which is for those of you that have Netflix, take some time watching this new documentary about the Chicago Bulls called The Last Dance. Has nothing to do with whether or not you're a basketball fan or specifically even a Bulls fan. You don't need to know about the Bulls. You don't need to know about basketball to appreciate this documentary, because what the documentary is about is consciousness. And when you take a look at the fact that Michael Jordan, and we're now not moving into talking about basketball, we're still talking about the consciousness of winning expectation. When Michael came to the Chicago Bulls, that organization sucked. Or as my dad used to say, son, with improvement, they could have been able to suck. He used to say that to me all the time. Somebody'd come up to him and go, hey, Mr. Morshower, what'd you think of me out there on the dance floor? Did you see me shaking my groove thing? And he'd go, kid, you'd have to improve to suck. So Harry Morshower loved to call it like it was. But the point is that organization was not a winning organization, and Michael brought into it winning consciousness. Now, do I agree with every one of his methodologies? No. But what I really agree with, and what I really love and support and admire, is that he knew how to win, and he knew it took commitment. He knew it took surrender. He knew it took visioning. He knew it took follow through. And he vowed to bring a championship to that. Hello, Karen Toddy. He vowed to bring a championship to that city. And ultimately they did they won a total of 6 championships. And they did a 3-peat, then a skip, and then came back and won 3 more. And then their coach, and I'll wrap it up with this, Phil Jackson, leaves in 1998, the end of that season. He comes over to Los Angeles Lakers after the Bulls and lays out 5 more NBA championships. Very difficult to call 11 NBA championships a fluke. I think the word here we're looking for is impossible. It's impossible to see that as a fluke. And that's an issue of consciousness. So what is the consciousness would be my question, Ken, to everybody here. What is the consciousness that you hold right now in your current trajectory?
Well, I was talking to somebody tonight for quite a while that is going through some struggles, and I said, what kind of goals do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have any. Okay. Have you gone out and watched some of the woo foo stuff, like the movie The Secret, or the movie What the Bleep Do We Know with what's her name? Marley
Matlin.
Yes, Madeline. Thank you. Have you
Matlin.
done Madeline?
Matlin with a T. Yes.
Oh, Matt.
Yes, Marley
Okay.
Matlin.
So have you done any of these? Yeah, I watched The Secret, but it was ridiculous and it was stupid, is what I was told. What I heard this person say, and I said, "Oh, why do you think that?"
Okay, that was them. Just to clarify, that was them talking, right?
Yeah,
not you.
Yeah,
okay.
No, whole God, no. I've seen it 20 plus, 25, 30. I don't even know how many times. So many times it's. But so, this person says, "Well, the guy's talking about, I go into the car park and I can just boom, I get a car, I find a spot to park my car and it's blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, it's real, dude. That's real. That happens to me. Anytime I want a front spot, 99% of the time I get it, because I see it way before I get there. I see it. And I know that it's going to be there, and I always get the front spot. And so, and this person that I was talking to just did not believe that in the moment. And I talked for quite a while, and I said, "Look, man, there has to be a level of massive belief that you have."
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was telling a client of mine, teaching this to a client of mine, and I said, here's a little thing that I want you to do tomorrow. I want you to go to work, and this is well into us, coaching. I said, I want you to go to work. Once you get up in the morning, I want you to write down on your list of goals, I will have someone surprise me with a cup of coffee today. I said, and then I want you to just meditate on that for a minute, really visualize it, feel that, see somebody putting it down on your desk, feel that, feel it in the moment. You got to feel it happening. And the guy was like, okay, I'll try it. I'll do. I said, no, you can't try it. You cannot try it. You have to believe it's going to happen. You have to know. And this dude called me that afternoon, freaking out, laughing. I mean, laughing like a little kid. "You're not going to believe what just happened." And I said, "I absolutely am going to believe it. What happened?" I already knew what he was going to tell me. "Well, some guy shows up with a thing of Starbucks for me and said, 'Hey, I was at Starbucks and thought about you and grabbed you one while I was there.'" He said, and this guy was almost in tears. He's like, "This works. This works." And I said, "I know it works, man. I know." And so, and there's, I don't know if there's anybody on here saying that that's hokey or whatever. And that's cool. If you think that, that's cool. Think it all you want. Here's the thing. As long as you think that, people that believe that will continue to attract everything that they want into their life. And you can go ahead on with your miserable ass life and not attract anything. Believe what you want. But if you do, it's like the scripture from the Bible when Peter was walking on the water and started to sink. He lost his belief. He lost his vision. We forget that we need to dream. We need to go outside of the four, I'm going to use this as a metaphor, but the four walls of our mind that we're used to rambling around in the same exact thoughts, and go, I saw a meme the other day of it said it was about the saying we're all in the same boat, and
Right.
it showed a celebrity, some hot chick celebrity on this yacht in a bathing suit, and it said their celebrity's boat, and then it said our boat, and it showed like, you know, some homeless dude laying on a raft,
Deflated raft.
yeah.
Right.
And it's like, and I chuckled at it, but you know, the simple fact is why not dream that? Why not believe that you can? Why not? It's available for all of us. It's not just available for some, it's available for all of us. If I truly had the desire to be a star in a movie, and I really started believing in that, and then I take the actions, join Glenn's acting class, which I'm already in. So, but if I took the actions and I started learning the craft, and I started learning the business, I started learning how do you do that? How do you get to the level of becoming an actor in a movie and all? And if I had that desire, well, then why not?
Why not is correct.
Why not, man? And I think that's where people. So, hey, Glenn, I got to grab some water real fast.
Give me 10 more seconds, and I will take over while you're away. While you're away, I'm telling someone else to come watch with us right now.
Oh, nope, not hokey pokey. Julie says, reaping and sowing is limitless. Amen. It is. Robert said, I have been using something keyboard. It can be a challenge. That's it. To have the desire to make it. That's it. So, you know, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich starts with desire. It all starts with desire. And I think people don't have desire based in, I mean, dude, I've interviewed 260 plus entrepreneurs and celebrities, and I always ask at the end, what's the number one thing that holds people back in life? And 95% have said fear in one form or another, right?
Right.
What are we so afraid of, man? What is it that we're afraid of? I don't understand it.
I don't either, because I'm not a member of that camp, you know, other than if one's own display of greatness is something that frightens them. And it could be that. I think a lot of times people are frightened to break out of the safety of the herd, the protective safety of the herd, and the approval rating, frankly, of the herd, because the herd's approval is far too important.
Yeah.
And I want to say that again. And if you need to take a little break here, I will say this. But
I do.
I want to say this again, that the herd's approval is the primary thing that keeps you stuck. Oh my God, did he say that? Did he really just say that? Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yep.
The herd's approval. I can reword it this way: the approval of the herd. And the herd is a reference to society. In many instances, it's a reference to your families, the infrastructure of the family system.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would root for you all that your circumstance is one where your family is very healthy, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, that there is true love, not conditional love, but true love and supportiveness coming from all directions. I do know this, that is often not the case. And our need to be loved by a targeted group of people sometimes backseats our need to expand into the fullness of our own divine design. All right, that's what it does. These are not memorized terms. This is just the speaking of my heart. But Ken, I'm just really excited about this topic. I don't know that anything gets my juices flowing more than this. And I want to offer, I have no idea how many people are watching. I know what our averages run by the end of the week with all of the shares and reviews and so forth. And it's a lot, and we do reach a lot of people, but I have no idea, nor do I care. But for those of you that are watching live right now, I have some very good news, phenomenal news for you. Okay, for you, all of you that are watching. Here's the phenomenal news. If you can set aside the next whatever, because Ken and I never plan how long we're going to be on exactly. And so I don't know if we're going to talk another 20 minutes or another hour. My guess is it won't be 20 minutes. I've been known to be Larry long-winded, Vincent verbose. And so, but we will do our best to help you experience a transformation that is favorable for you tonight. A favorable transformation, I believe, is an inevitability if you follow a couple of basics. And here they are. The first one that I want to give you is a way to, and I've done this before on the show, and it's not mine, but I love to share it. This is from a gentleman named Russell Friedman, who years ago taught me at the Grief Recovery Institute of Los Angeles the 5 most impactful words that I've ever applied to my life. And he promised it, that it would create magnificent change, and it has indeed for me and for everyone who has taken this training. But the 5 words are this: that's old, I'm new, goodbye. 5 simple words. That's old, I'm new, goodbye. And whatever that's old is referencing a way of thinking as well as a way of being. So anything that you've grown really, really tired of, anything, the next town over from Tiredsville is the town of Dunsville. And the reality is you can start plotting change in the town of Tiredsville. Stay with me because this stuff's really, really good. You can start plotting change, but change will never be made from Tiredsville. Only the plotting of change, because you have to go another 10 miles down the highway where you enter the town of Dunsville, where you're truly done. And nobody's tired of anything in Dunsville. It's like you have to have a prerequisite in order to enter Dunsville that you are in fact done. You're done with that thing. You're done with that way of being. You are not tired of it. You've been tired of it. And there's a good chance you've been tired of it for a very long time. And your tiredness did not affect change. So doneness does affect change. And so that's old is a confirmation of doneness, where you look at that old way of being, that old way of thinking, that old relationship, that old habit. Habits are key for this, that old habit, and you're done. So you declare it to be what it is. It's old. That's old. First 2 words of the 5. Then you turn and look directly into the mirror at yourself, which is also looking out into the world and declaring a truth about you, which is the next 2 words, I'm new. So for your review, that's old, I'm new. I'm new. That has nothing to do with me anymore. I am a new creature. So this basically is the conversation between the caterpillar and the butterfly. The caterpillar is old. I bless him for everything he was. I loved being him. It was not all easy, but I'm not a caterpillar anymore, and I can't behave as if I am. So I'm done, and now I look into the mirror and declare my butterfly nature by saying, I'm new. It's true. I'm not only new, I'm changed. And I even have these brand new wings, which give me the gift of flight, which I didn't previously have. So now I'm participating in my current design, not my former design. And then the last words are looking back to the caterpillar and saying goodbye. And I have even added 2 more words to this teaching. And the 2 words I've added are thank you. Thank you. Meaning thanking it or them if it's a person. And you don't have to have the person accompanying you for this. This is all a mental exercise that you can do on your own. So it's that's old, looking at it, that's old, looking forward, I'm new, goodbye, thank you. Or if you want, you can say, and thank you, which would be a total of 8 words. That's old, I'm new, goodbye, and thank you. And it's a sincere thank you. It's not a bullshit thank you. It's thank you for everything that was clarified for me during that chapter of my life. I learned a lot from you. You meaning the time. You meaning the person, you meaning the circumstance. I learned a lot from saying yes to that version of life. I'm also, however, done with it. So thank you for the clarity. And now I'm ready to reside in my newness. That's part one. The other part, Ken, and this will be so much easier. I'm going to give you guys 5 of my words. Those were from Russell Friedman. Please feel free to look him up. Russell Friedman, the Grief Recovery Institute of Los Angeles. And Russell has since passed away. And so I feel a sense of responsibility to carry forth his legacy and pass on the baton of what he taught me. So here are 5 words that I have used for many, many years. It's a different grouping of 5 words, and it's one basic belief of intrinsic goodness in your life. And here's the simple phrase, and all of my students know this: things work out for me. It sounds so simplistic. Things work out for me, which takes us out of the day-to-day, sometimes even moment-by-moment panic of feeling as though we need to somehow micromanage every inch of our walk. And we don't. Thank you, Corey. I'm glad that spoke to your heart, brother. So we don't need to supervise each and every moment. Magic occurs in a garden of trust. A really well-planted garden doesn't need to be micromanaged. If we plant our garden well and make sure that it's getting plenty of sun and plenty of moisture, plenty of watering, as long as the soil is fertile, you can really trust that nature does the rest, because you have placed your crops in a position to express themselves effortlessly and beautifully and abundantly. But you don't have to force it. No farmer has ever had to stand next to his crops and say, grow. They're going to do it, right? They're going to do it. It's automatic as long as he or she has done their part. So do you or do you not? And I'm asking, I would love some feedback. Justin, I see that you wrote it down. Things work out for me. Do you believe that? Ken, I need a couple more minutes with this, because I'm on a serious roll. I'm on a serious roll with something that will change lives, not might. Not might. This works, and it works powerfully. And this is not fake enthusiasm. This is not me working myself into a frenzy. This is what's so about me inside. This is the level at which I bubble underneath on topics like this, because I do hold that belief. And I always have. My whole life, I have held the belief that things work out for me. Does that say that I don't ever get into situations that are tremendously painful or challenging? Of course not. Of course, I've run into situations like that, situations, plural, throughout my life. But always there has been the abiding certainty that things work out for me. And that layer of trust really allows us to react no matter how big the storm is. I mean this. No matter how big the storm is, it can be neutralized on a dime by saying, things work out for me. Right? Now, I happen to believe things work out for you. But my belief that things work out for you is going to run into a speed bump or a knot in the mental wood of life. We're going to get into that clash between my optimism on behalf of you and your own on behalf of yourself. Do you agree with me that things work out for you? Because I'm telling you, that's where it all starts. So many people don't feel that way. And if you really put them on the spot, and I don't want to embarrass anyone in front of anybody, but if you dare to have them be rigorously honest about their lives privately, key here is privately, with you, do they say things, what is Andrew saying? I wake up each morning and nurture my soul with positive affirmation so that my abundance can thrive. Hallelujah, man. That's the deal. That's Amen. The deal. And this is not a religious gathering, but seriously, hallelujah, because that is spot on, Andrew. Andrew and I met doing a Western up in South Dakota this last year. And it was wonderful getting a chance to get to know each other. So this is really true. I think it all comes down to, what are you busy believing? And that way you can let go of the day-to-day developments that would have you believe otherwise. So if you hold the belief that things work out for you. And I'm talking about across the board, not just in one area. They work out for you. I think there are 4 key corners. They work out for you spiritually, which I always put up at the top. They work out for you physically, so the caretaking of the body. They work out for you emotionally, which is your relationships of all kinds, that they work out. They're always busy working themselves out. And financially. Those are your 4 big corners. That's the big box. And what's interesting is as long as we can really connect with that level of trust that all things are working out, not they will work out. Listen, not they will. They're working out right now. Right now. And what happens is everything sort of chiropractically falls in place, Ken, behind that. But that's sort of the roof under which all other aspects of wellness operate. In fact, that's what they're governed by. So if we have a core belief, simply put, and it's not even wordy, right? It's 5 simple words. Things work out for me. Now, notice I didn't say this. Well, I hope things work out for me. That's a belief that they don't. When you say, I hope that they will, it's that you hold the scar tissue that is mired in believing that they won't, which is the very thing that energizes them once again, not working out. Now, look at me. I'm as jacked up as you were last night.
Well,
anyway, that's what I want to say about that.
I think,
the deal.
And I want to tie this back to what you were just saying. When you were, you filmed your first movie at 16 years old, and had they said, hey, we'd like you to come and do a reading. Is that what it's called? Do a reading?
Yes. A table reading.
I'm getting the
well, now, are you talking about the audition phase?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
They still call them auditions,
okay. We'd like you to come and audition at 16 years old. We'd like you to come and audition for a role where you're going to be playing a 72-year-old grandfather to 4 grandchildren. And you're going to be the primary role in this film as the 72-year-old grandfather.
I would have said, have you seen my headshot?
Right. Well, I'm just so this is leading to my point. So now, even though you're not 72, you could do some makeup work and make yourself look 72, probably.
Sure.
And go play that role. This whole, because this person I was talking to said, oh, so tomorrow I'm going to manifest a cup of coffee. Is that what you're telling me I need to do? And I said, no, don't try it. Don't try it yet. You've got to be ready for this, man. You just went from, I hate The Secret, I hate everything about manifesting, the blah, blah. This is a gradient, and life is a gradient. This person happens to be in their early 40s. And I said, oh my gosh, man, between 40 and 50 was when I found out who I truly am. And it was but actually between 47 and 51 is when it was really starting to kind of become clear for me, like, okay, I'm starting to get it.
Did you say 47 and 51?
Between 47, 50, gotcha. 51 is when I was really starting to get it. And I literally said to him, I said, my 40s are actually the best years of my life so far. Mm-hmm. Besides my 50s. Now my 50s are like, holy crap, you got to be kidding me. Every day something really amazing happens. So right.
But listen to that, Ken. Listen to that. Every day something really amazing happens. Listen to that, but listen to your own voice.
But listen I say that all the time.
I know you do. What I'm saying is listen to yourself when you say something amazing happens every day. You didn't say, I hope something amazing happens every day. You didn't say, I hope things happen or amazing things happen often. You said, amazing things happen every day. That is a core belief. And what you're experiencing is the outpicturing, which is the term they use in metaphysics. That is another expression for manifestation. You're experiencing the manifestation of your very stated core belief.
Right. But my point behind all of this is life is not an event. It's a process. And all of this. Now, I'm not saying, somebody mentioned earlier, I put the comment up on the screen about Tony Robbins points out about how this couple hit the lottery twice in the same year because they knew they were going to. And there are plenty of people that will try to debunk that and say, oh, that's a bunch of hogwash and blah, blah, blah. And, they're just too big for their britches. I know how much you love that saying.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to, somebody also said, even when things don't turn out exactly the way I want them to, I still see it as a win. And I do too. I always do. So like I think what I'm trying to say is this is going to happen on a gradient. This isn't like a sudden, like, boom, you just hit the lottery. Now you can go buy your yacht and or whatever it is that you desire. It's not like that. It happens progressively from the moment that you realize your life is happening progressively. It's happening on a gradient. It's not going to happen like straight up. It's literally happening on, and I think it's just important to realize that it's a journey.
It is a journey, and in my view, there is nothing more important than personal peace, and that the consciousness or the soil of your mind and heart collectively operating as one, the soil that is fertilized with personal peace can grow anything. Therefore, if we make personal peace our priority, right? So that's our nature. Is personal peace. I believe it's our nature. And we've set up all of these roadblocks for ourselves to have us stray from that core condition of personal peace. And when we get rid of the roadblocks and spend time meditating, as I know you do all the time, I do as well, Ken, and then full-blown restoration occurs and we get into that state of personal peace, then we become unstoppable at that point. Now, I'm not being contrary with what I'm about to say, but I want to offer you a thought.
Sure.
About a danger zone, about something that can be dangerous for people to entertain mentally, which is that I don't think the law, we'll call it the law of manifestation, law of nature. There are several immutable laws, meaning unchanging. They are permanent. They are as they are in the cosmos.
Yeah.
And those immutable laws, when we develop a cooperative relationship with them, things go well. Not maybe, that's what happens. So all we're doing is at a molecular level, and this is stuff that is talked about in The Secret. They certainly talk about it in What the Bleep, which I think is the stronger of the two films for this reason. But thank you, buddy. But at as though I made the film, thank you. But at a molecular level, the minute we shift things in thought, here's the beautiful thing that could sound woo-woo, but I'm basically shedding some light on the way it works. Instead of simply saying it works, well, that's nice. How does it work? And here's how it works. At the epicenter, basically on the front lines of thought, when we change our patternings and get into this really, really healthy groove of speaking and living and knowing the truth, that when we do that, things begin shifting immediately, not down the road. The beginnings I'm talking about, only the beginnings. We'll call it a rumbling, that it creates a rumbling at a molecular level where everything is moving and swirling and shifting and changing, and all of those changes collectively, they produce different outcomes, because at the end of the day, everything is energy. So again, the energy of peace is powerful. It's the most powerful thing there is absolute peace. The absence of disturbance. There is no disturbance in that. And so you're talking about a full dosage of unimpeded light, unimpeded power, unimpeded love. Nothing can stand in its way. And that is a belief about the overall. And it stays out of the moment to moment stuff. In other words, its concern, this is my soul's understanding. Its concern is the macro, and it doesn't give 2 cents about the micro. The micro will work itself out, but right now the focus is big picture. So what I'm telling you, Ken, and I'm not being difficult. I'm just telling you what my relationship is with the laws of attraction. Are that I don't care about parking places. I don't care about them because it doesn't matter. So for starters, I don't even need to manifest the closer space. And you know why? Because I have legs and they work and I'm grateful to use them. So I'm fine with being the guy that parks 2 blocks away. I don't need the right up close space. That can be for someone who is challenged in ways that I'm not. So I don't waste time or energy trying to manifest things that I don't even need. A close by parking place is officially unimportant. That doesn't mean it's wrong for somebody else. So I'm only talking about I'm only talking about my approach. If somebody else wants to spend their time and energy working that program, that's fine. But here's the problem. Please hear this because I think it can be very dangerous. So what can happen is, let's say someone is working this concept. They're basically taunting the law. They're taunting it. They're testing it to see what it's capable of. And I got to tell you, the law doesn't wish to be tested. So for example, let's say they circle the building and there's not a space, and they circle the building again and there's not a space. Now here's the potential downfall. I'm just trying to present something that I've seen happen in many instances. There is a tendency for people who are taunting it, or better word, even testing it. Mm-hmm. And my belief is that in testing it, there's a form of them that's taunting it. Then what happens is there is no parking place, and they wind up losing all faith and immediately move into the mindset that the law of attraction is bullshit.
And I have a retort for that.
Well, of course you do. That's why we do a talk show.
I hear what
Can you give me the 20 seconds left to complete my thought, though?
Oh, I
wasn't done with my thought.
Sorry.
So I'm just saying that they can be easily discouraged. And now what has happened is, because of a minor setback, which I think that's the most minor of a setback. Oh, in fact, let me engage some feelings. You didn't get your parking place. Let me get emotional about that. It's not worth getting upset over. And so what's happening is they are urinating on the macro because they've abandoned the plan, because they're so concerned that they didn't generate a parking place, when if we had been more patient with the overall plan. This is the same thing with people who, I'm not even in the stock market, but someone wants to get into acting. I'll use that as an analogy, and they want something within the first couple of weeks. Like they want a TV series. You know, when you move to LA and you decide you're going to book a TV series in the first week, I will tell you that that's realistically a long shot. And it's a real long shot, because nobody knows who you are. You have to get an agent. All of those things take time. Introductions take time. And that's not being negative. If you put a plant in the ground and stand next to it and go, grow now, it'll look up. Here's what the plant will do. I speak fluent plant speak, by the way. The plant will look up and go, hey, blow me.
Oh, gee.
No, that's what the plant will say, because it'll say, hey, I know what I'm doing. And I know you've been reading these books on manifestation, and you think that I am, at your command, but I have a process underway, and that process takes a specific amount of time. Could you do me a favor and practice a little patience here? I will grow up and I will bear fruit for you. So that's all about trust. That's all I'm saying. And I think that we can really get into a danger zone if we start expecting immediate results in the micro all the time, because sometimes there is just patience involved and trust. that the process is working out no matter what it appears to be. That's all I'm saying.
And I said that. I said, that it's a gradient. You have to be at a certain, I've done this for a long time. So manifesting a parking spot is something that just is natural. It's always there for me. Right. I don't put energy, but I also don't assign. I wasn't
referring to you, bud. I know
you aren't. I know, but we can't assign, and this is something. This is only my opinion, and this isn't me going. Hopefully, you don't see this as me going against you, because I love you, dude. But you assigned a personality and energy and emotions to a law, and the simple fact is this law has no personality, it has no emotions, it has no ability to think or feel.
Would you say that it has energy?
I think it has energy based on who the carrier is.
Correct.
So just like gravity. Gravity doesn't care if you're black, white, purple, green, gay.
It doesn't care if you're CEO matter. Or homeless.
It does not matter. If I hold this pen like this, look, gravity took over. It does not matter. There is no emotion involved at all.
Hence the term immutable law.
Right.
I said gravity is one of the immutable laws of being a resident on planet Earth, and it does not care if you're a CEO or a homeless person. It doesn't care how much money is in your bank account. It doesn't care about your title. If you step off of a building from the top floor, you're on your way to the cement. And it's interesting that terminal velocity is achieved by both parties.
Right.
The homeless person and the CEO will hit the pavement at approximately the same speed.
Along with the pen. So I think that the law of attraction, creating what you desire in life, and you're right, man, you can't stand over a plant. As a matter of fact, you are doing the reverse of the law. Like you're doing the reverse of the law of attraction. When you plant a seed, there's a gestation period for everything.
Yes.
Like some of the things that are happening for you in your career and in your life, you and I had a conversation on the phone earlier today, and we were talking. I won't talk about everything but you're like, oh, and by the way, that didn't happen overnight. That was 45 years of my career in the making to get to this point where it's A, B, and C, and I was like, and it makes sense. Like you can't. The things that are happening for me in my life right now are just unbelievably cool. The writing the chapter in Jeffrey Gitomer's new book, and the chapter I just wrote in this other book.
Which, by the way, I just want to applaud you.
Thank you, dude.
I do. I just want to applaud you because, it's not as though Jeffrey's limited in the number of people he could choose from. His talent pool is rather extensive, and he goes, I think I want Ken Walls. That's a huge nod to your consciousness, brother.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. But these things that are happening in my life are many, many years in the making, and a lot of years of planting the seed and going grow.
Right.
And we all do it. But I think where the real magic.
No, we don't all do it.
Well,
I am not in the business of telling plants to now grow and produce fruit.
15 years old. You come on, man. When you're younger,
I've done other stupid stuff, but that's not one I've done where I stood next to a plant.
A literal plant. I've never yelled at a plant, but I'm talking about other seeds. It was a metaphor. But so.
Is this where you're going to stoop and tell me what a metaphor is and try to explain that to me as well?
No. Glenn, I realized that the last conversation we had, I may have been a bit condescending. That's where you talk down to people.
To someone, yes, I know. Thank you. I haven't name dropped one time in this conversation because I know better, right? And who taught me not to name drop was Robert De Niro. I don't know how many times I'm going to get to tell that joke on our show, but at
so
least
funny.
once a month. At least once a month. Hey, have our folks stopped chiming in?
No, they're chiming.
I'm sitting
like
here
crazy.
thinking this is one of the best conversations we've ever had, and I'm hoping people are benefiting. Are you guys benefiting from this, or should Ken and I just stop the stream and continue the conversation alone?
Commenting.
Okay.
I mean, look, Joan is the only other person besides you that applauded me for the Jeffrey Gitomer thing. But
oh, that's sweet. Now, are those hands or feet that she's applauding with? Look at that.
Those are hands.
Those are bizarre looking hands.
They are not. There's 5 fingers and a thumb. What are you talking about?
Wait, there's 5 fingers and a thumb? You want to do
4
that math?
fingers and a thumb.
Okay,
You know
I said,
thanks for stopping by, Glenn. Oh, dude, did we just have our first fight?
No, we've had a lover's quarrel before. It's okay.
Look, Bob Proctor tells the story of when he focused on clouds in the sky, he could make them disappear.
That's what the friggin' book, The Men Who Stare at Goats, that's what that was all about. Our movie is looking into the sky and making stuff disappear.
Everybody that you just, after you said that, everybody started
power responding.
I mean, big time. Oh, that's laughing my ass off.
That's my sweet Ari. She's out in California, one of the students from our workshop. She's a sweet, sweet lady.
I know. I've seen her.
Very articulate.
She's awesome.
It is a fabulous conversation, Christy, but it's a fabulous conversation for all of us. So let's all get aboard this and throw in our collective thoughts about glasses, Glenn glasses. What? Go easy on Glenn. He has a long walk back to his car. Oh, jeez. You know what? I do get priority parking at my own house, just to be clear. And now Yasmin is telling me I need glasses.
Who said that?
I'll go with a completely different look. I'll go with my directorial look.
Oh, hold it. What hat do you have on?
I'm sorry?
Oh, is that from your visit on the Jimmy Kimmel show?
That's correct. Jimmy gave me a hat when I was a guest on his show.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Is she saying glasses because I was squinting and leaning in?
Oh.
Wow. So listen, I saw a TV commercial last night that shows you about consciousness, okay? So we're talking about the estimated havability. I'm going back to something. I said the EH earlier, estimated havability.
Yep.
Do you see the thing that you are chasing as your own? Do you see it? Do you see it?
Are you asking?
No. I'm asking our audience. Do you see it? That's so cool that you entered that, the estimated havability. So do you see it in your hands? Do you see it within your grasp? Or do you see it as something that you will be chasing, that you will be pursuing? So I'm watching late night TV because I'm always up at night. Always. I'm even up at night when it's not in my best interest to do so because I have an early morning shoot. There's something about me that craves the night. So when I get a dreadfully early call relative to the time I go to bed, I work on adrenaline because I'm so excited to be doing what I do for a living. But that being said, there was a woman and she sounded like this, Ken. Ish was this woman's thing, and she wasn't no actress, okay? She is a local. And here's what she said. And am I making fun? Yes, I am. Here's what she said. She said, now, you're going to have to admit that if you're 60 or older, there are just some limitations, and that's the way it is. That was the lead in to her commercial about body aches and about mattresses and about whatever product that she was saying. And so she opened with a campaign for limitation.
That was probably a script.
I understand that. I'm not blaming the woman. What I'm saying is that's where the consciousness is of people, that even people decide, for example, 61 is not old for me. I do know it's old for some people. And I don't know if I'm going to be here more than another day. But
Right.
at this mile marker, no matter when I make my exit, if I were to exit this week, Ken, and I have no desire to, because I love being here. I'm in love with life. I worship the experience of incarnation. But that being said, if I were to leave right now, I would be leaving very, very young and vibrant.
Very.
And I think we have huge say-so about our level of vibrancy. Now,
Yep.
are there some exceptions to that? Are there things that happen that are out of our control? Yes, I do believe there are. And there are things that happen, such as accidents, disease, and so forth. But I know we're going to get into that and so forth. And I want to be careful. I'm just saying in general, generally speaking, because I'm staying in generalizations, that we get to decide what is our mental picture. So in metaphysics, this is another huge thing I'm so grateful to have learned in my metaphysician training, is that we have what's called an ME, which is the mental equivalent. It's the picture that we associate with our belief system. So for example, I don't have an old man's picture of being 61.
Right.
I don't have that picture.
Right.
Therefore, that is not what I'm looking to manifest.
Right.
So I can go out today, go down the street. I'm not being boastful. I'm being grateful. Big difference between boastful and grateful. I can run down the street.
Yep.
Run. And in mid-run, jump up and click my heels in the air like Fred Astaire.
Yep.
I can do that. And one of the primary reasons I can do it is because I spent exactly 0 time dwelling on how much I couldn't. I have not walked my pathway to 61 thinking, oh God, when I get to 60, it's all going to fall apart. It's just never been a part of my belief system. So I wind up having as much or more energy as my students. And my students are in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
And they don't have more stamina. And I'm not in some sort of competition with them. But what I've noticed is how much say-so we have in the way things show up, going all the way down to your parking place reference, to what shows up in your career, what shows up in your life, what shows up in longevity of relationships, and on and on and on and on and on. Do you or do you not hold the core belief, things work out for me? That's what it comes down to.
I think, and again,
Weldon, wow, 105.
I think that we have a real problem with just trying to pussyfoot around people, and I'm over it, dude. I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Pussyfoot around in what ways, Ken?
You said, well, I want to be careful with, people have accidents and stuff like that. I get that. But I also know that there is a motivational speaker that charges $100,000 minimum to get on your stage to speak, that has no arms and no legs.
Right.
And he will fire you up.
Right.
Nick something. I can't remember. It's a long last name. But he has no arms and no legs. And he jokes about it and laughs about it and makes fun about it.
Can you do a screen share?
And he has no limitations. He literally lives his life with the dude's been skydiving. He's done all kinds of insane things. It's crazy. So I think that we are limited by the excuses that we use.
Oh, here.
This. Right?
You have just spoken the truth. Let's call the show now. Pull the plug on the show. It was fun, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Janelle, sweet Janelle. Glenn, you've got to know this lady. She is such an amazing.
I actually looked up Janelle the other day. I actually took a minute to look her up on Facebook and saw that she had this radiant smile. I'm not joking. I really did do this. And she had this radiant smile in all of her situations. Right. She had several pictures of her with that same beautiful smile.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Janelle, is there a way you can get my hair to do what yours is doing in that photo? If so, please private message me on Facebook.
What's up, Frank Cronetti? What's going on, dude? She's awesome. She's amazing.
Hey, I want to offer a random thought that's connected with all of this, Ken, if I may, from a friend of mine named Don Rohde. And Don Rohde one of my dearest friends. I've known Don since 1980. We met in the fall of 1980. So here we are coming up on 40 years. And Don told me I've always been an admirer of his spiritual consistency. I'll call it that, because there's never a time when he's not wholesome and good and loving Don. At least, and I mean, on his own time, he might have times where he's off. I don't necessarily assume, but when he is interacting with others, this is a man who predictably will show up coming from love. And that being said, I asked him about the greatest suggestion, and I asked him this 30 plus years ago, that he could make to anyone if he could consolidate recipes for joy down to one phrase. And here's what Don said. And if Don's watching tonight, he may not even remember how brilliant he was even in those years, and that it stayed with me. What he said stayed with me and has been with me my whole adult life. He said, identify a need within someone else and meet it before they mention it. So I want to say that again. Identify a need that is going on within someone else.
Yeah.
And meet that need before they ever even mention it. So be on the lookout for people who have something that they could benefit from, whatever it is, and be the facilitator. That doesn't mean go give them a gift. It means to show up in the capacity of a facilitator in whatever way you feel called to do so, to help them bring about what it is that they need, or at least they feel they need.
Right.
And don't wait until they ask. So I had an opportunity to do that today that I want to share with you. And I have these opportunities all the time. I didn't tell you about this in the pre-show, but today I went over to see my mom. Actually, she started by coming over to our house, and we spent about 90 minutes together, and we were looking at some of the scenes from class that we've done lately, which she enjoyed very much so. And I love sharing them with her. And then she needed to go pick up her dog and head back to the house, and found out that there were some road workers that were repaving her street. And they were getting underway right as she was pulling up. So she was probably the last one in the neighborhood to get into the driveway without running through the hot tar on the street. And they were doing a beautiful job. Well, by the time she called me and said, be aware that they're doing this. So we pulled up and we parked several houses away on the side street because I didn't want hot tar all over my tires. And we walked in.
I was talking to you on the phone when you did that.
Oh, that's right. So you remember. So here's what followed up after that moment about 5 minutes later.
Okay.
I told you it was hot here today. It was 93 when you and I spoke. I think it climbed to about 95 or 96. But on that tar, on that hot pavement, it wasn't any 96. You can add at least another 10, if not 15 degrees. And many of you know that when you're anywhere near specifically a black street, those black streets get even hotter. And the tar was hot, and these guys were dying out there. And we had noticed that several of them had gotten off the truck and were laying in my mom's front yard up under the magnolia tree in the shade. So there was no doubt about what needed to happen. I went straight into the house, and I'm not saying this to toot a whistle. I'm saying this to communicate how energy works. Went straight to my mom's fridge and got every bottle of water she had. And when I ran out, they had a total of 8 men on their crew. And she had 6 bottles of water, and then I added 2 things of Sprite and went out and handed it to them. They didn't say, hey, could you get us something to drink? And this isn't even about the bigness or smallness of that gesture, because we're only talking about $1 for a bottle of water and the same for the Sprites or whatever. It has nothing to do with the cost. I am here to tell you that when I showed up with those ice cold, here is the key, waters, every one of them looked at me like they just won the lottery. And it was for not just a drink, it was twofold. It was threefold. It was that it was a drink. It's that the drink was cold and refreshing. And then the third level is that it had not been requested, which made it the biggest. And this is exactly what Don taught, is see a need and meet it before they ask. So that when you show up and you're giving something to someone that they would have asked for if they thought they had a right to, if they thought they could ask a resident, which, most city workers would say, you can't be asking the residents to provide beverages for you while you work. So the idea is that when we are in flow and when we are in abundance consciousness and brotherhood, then we share, and there is no dividing line. And this was really good because I saw these workers feel valued. I saw them feel respected. I saw them, most of all, feeling noticed. Like, wow, you noticed a couple of things. You noticed that it's really hot. You noticed that I'm really working hard. And you noticed that I could seriously use something to drink right now. You noticed all of that on your own, activated that microchip and went into action about it and showed up and handed something to us. This is what makes the world go round. And it seems so small, and yet it is so huge. And the idea is to take this as a template from which to live the entirety of our lives. Because although this was including water and 2 Sprites, it was about so much more than that, Ken. And we can utilize this same thing across the board in every single area of our lives. The template does not change. That's what I really want everybody to grasp. That template works everywhere. I frankly don't think there's a template of that ilk that doesn't work. I think if you use that as your basic template for life, it will, I'm going to be really bold here, my brother, it will never fail you. It will never fail you, because people really love to be loved. They love to be noticed. They love to be valued. They love to be thought about.
Yeah.
They love to be cared for and provided for.
That is actually part of my training program that we started this entire live stream with the sole purpose of selling my training. I'm just kidding.
That's so bad. Patricia, thank you.
Oh,
that's sweet. That's so sweet. Patricia is my dear friend up in Canada.
I think that it's so, what you just said is the essence of life, man.
Isn't it?
It really truly is. It is.
And if we're not doing it, or shouldn't we feel like something's off?
And I think that a lot of people probably do feel like something's off and they can't figure out what it is. Well, if I just work harder, if I work longer hours, if I and it's literally about having a heart for other people.
Yes, really, I apologize. Did I interrupt it? I apologize for that, Ken.
You didn't interrupt me.
Yeah, I did a minute ago, and I didn't mean to. I was wholeheartedly agreeing with you.
I don't know.
About, you said, and isn't that the essence of life? And I saw that as an opening to agree, and you started your next sentence, and all of a sudden I was in the middle of it. So I apologize, but I couldn't agree with you more. This is the essence of life. This is why we're here. And when we fill our plate with other priorities and lose sight of that, it's no wonder that we wind up missing the whole boat.
We miss, so many people miss out on life. I mean, it's not about, although I've had my moments in life, I'm a recovered alcoholic, man. And there was a long stretch of time in my life when, I was all I thought about. And I didn't realize that my in Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a lot, there's the most spiritual program in the world, in my opinion. And one of the things that the literature talks about is that, alcoholics think that it's the alcohol, drug addicts think that it's the drug, when really the real, and the literature says the real malady is that it's a spiritual illness.
That's what it says in the big book.
Yeah. It says that it's we found that I forget the exact quote, but it says that the real issue is it's a spiritual illness, and that a big portion of that spiritual illness, and I've talked about this before. I heard this guy with like 600 years sober or something. He had like 40 some years sober, and he gave, and I was fresh off the boat. Is that a bad thing to say? But I literally was. I was so like brand new and newly sober, and couldn't find my ass with both hands and a flashlight.
You've trained me well, brother.
And I was lost, man. And I remember hearing this guy, and he had this thick New York accent here in Ohio. And he's from New York, but
are you about to bestow a New York accent upon him?
No, oh God, no, I'm not even going to try. But he said, if you want to know the secret, if you really want to know the secret to long-term sobriety and a really, really blessed life, and all, he names all of these blessings in his life. He says, I'm going to tell you the secret. Here it is. See those coffee pots back there? The secret is in the bottom of those coffee pots. And he just stood there, and there were all kinds of people with befuddled looks. I was sitting there going, this dude's a whack job. And if he wasn't from New York and I was afraid that he was going to whack me if I said this, I'd probably tell him, hey, you're a freaking whack job. And then after some time passed, he said, at the end of every meeting, pick up the chairs and put them away. Get the tables, put them away. Grab that coffee pot back there, take it to the kitchen, dump those grounds out, clean that coffee pot, scrub it out, make it look brand new. Put your whole soul into the bottom of that coffee pot. So the next group that comes in to use this room in this church, they have a crystal clean, beautiful new coffee pot to use. Yeah. Make sure you give it everything. And he said, back when I first started coming to AA, you could smoke in the meetings, but they used to say, and clean the ashtrays, clean all the ashtrays, clean, be of service to your fellow man, and you will have everything that you want in life.
Which is echoing the teachings of Zig Ziglar, who said that one of the keys to have what you desire in life is to assist others in obtaining what they desire. And he even modified it with this word, first. So he not only was an advocate for being of service, but he was an advocate for starting it by being of service. So starting your every action with being of service. Oh, do you have it?
You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want.
Right.
Zig Ziglar. His son, Tom Ziglar, is a friend of mine, and gave me this when I was right down the street from your house and didn't even know it. And when I was at Ziglar headquarters, man, it's true. It's been, but here's the thing. When you are a selfish, self-absorbed butthole, I'll be nice, and all you think about is yourself, you don't realize it. Most people don't realize how self-absorbed they are.
Okay.
When things aren't going well in life. Well, there's people that things may be going well in some ways, but they're still very self-centered, self-absorbed, egotistical. And there's nothing quite as humbling, and I'm just being real, man. When I first got sober, man, I had a Mercedes. I was driving a nice new Mercedes, and I thought I was king crap. I really did. I thought I was the bomb.com, and I had two Mercedes, but I and I was like, clean the coffee pots. How about I go outside, smoke a cigarette, hobnob with some people and get in my little Mercedes and leave and let the lowlifes clean the coffee pots
while you're out trying to negotiate how to get laid.
Well, maybe.
Right. This cutting into my time here to be cleaning these ashtrays.
Hot chicks at this meeting. You kidding me? but no. But I can remember though thinking all of that and then going, fine, I'll go clean the dang coffee pots. And I did not want to clean the coffee pots. Let me be clear about this. I did not have a sudden spiritual awakening listening to this guy. Okay. There was nothing going, oh, okay.
But all these years later, you get it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I get it big time now.
So when was the epiphany? When did the full impact of his share regarding the ashtrays and chairs, when did it pop for you?
I don't know. I wish I could answer that. I think honestly, I do think that it was it's that gradient thing I was talking about, man. I think that it was there was no light switch. It was more like somebody had a remote control with the dimmer thing and you're like, is the room getting lighter yet? Like I don't know. It feels like it might be. I mean, it was like that. Like, it was just like the lights slowly started coming on. And when I say, I mean, slowly starting to come on. And so I don't know when it was, but there was a moment that I realized that you literally can like accomplish so many things in life just by getting the heck out of yourself. And genuinely, there's so many people who pretend to care, right? There's a lot of people who are like, they pretend to care. They pretend to be living from a heart-centered place, and they're not.
Right. Once again, if I can, there's something I want to address here, but before I do, can you go back to the last couple of posts? Robert has written us another chapter, and I love his chapters.
Do you want me to put his up on the screen?
Yeah, but let me see all these. The secret is going from selfish to selfless. Yes. Here, Justin. Beautifully stated.
Service above self, Patricia.
Absolutely, Patricia.
You said Patricia?
Yeah. A friend of mine from the speaking world that lives up in Canada.
Canada, I can't say Canada without saying Julie Strickler.
She lives over in Ontario, that area.
Julie is in Canada,
What does Robert Brooker say?
Robert Brooker's in. Robert, what is up with your typing tonight?
He says he's on a smaller device or something, and he referenced that earlier that he was having a little trouble. Ari,
is that how?
Yes,
Ari. Ari says sometimes it may even be people needing to be forced out of their element to come to that realization.
Yes,
exactly. Ari, that's what happened to me. Because when I got sober, it's August the 10th. So in 11 days, I will have exactly 18 years of sobriety. And when I'm
so proud of you, Ken, and very, very happy for you.
Dude, I'm blessed, man. I am so blessed. I wish I could take all the credit, but I did put in a lot of work. But I'll say this. Because I don't think I cleaned the coffee pots that night. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive I didn't, in fact. But slowly. Okay, so another friend of mine, after about 60 days sober, my relationship ended that I was trying to salvage. I lost both Mercedes, got repossessed, lost the house, lost my business, lost everything, and essentially had no place to live because I couldn't finance a bologna sandwich. Speaking of bologna. And
had you been able to, where I would have put it.
a friend, right? A friend of mine in the program said, dude, you can come and crash at my house. I've got a big house, extra bedrooms. It's just me. I'm single. Got a girlfriend that comes over, but she's not there all the time. And I'm like, cool, dude. Thank you. And I said, oh, by the way, I don't have a job either. So we'll have to work on the rent thing. But,
was that the sequence, by the way? The sequence is that you were invited first before telling him you didn't have a job.
No, he knew, but he was just helping me out, right? He saw potential, and I'll tell you something that happened. I was going through I was meeting a lot of women, and going through a lot of relationships, and one night I come home from this woman's house, and I walk in. He's sitting in his living room. I walk in. He goes, "Hey, bud, I want to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." This is where the coffee pot things start. You just made me think of this. He says, "Have a seat." So I sit down. He goes, "I think I need you to go ahead and make other arrangements and find another place to live." I was like, "Okay. I've only been here like 3 weeks, but okay. Is there a problem?" He's like, I just don't like the way you're doing things. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, the women, all the stuff you're doing, like it's you're out of control, man. I don't think you're going to stay sober. I think you're dangerous, and I want you to move on, get out of my house. I said, whoa. And dude, we sat there. I had a meltdown. I had he was having a come to Jesus talk with me.
Yeah, he was giving you what we call feedback.
Oh, yeah. And he says, look, bud, everybody in the program is talking about how out of control you are and what you're doing. And he goes, and here's the thing. If one person calls you a horse, yeah, blow it off, whatever. 2 people, 3 people call you a horse, maybe you might want to take a look at it. He goes, dude, when 5, 6, 10 people call you a horse, you may want to consider buying a saddle. I was like, what the now I'm a horse? What the hell are we talking about? And so I realized at that moment that my behavior was really messed. I mean, again, I was messed up, man. I was messed up. They kept talking about that, eventually if you remove the alcohol, you work this program, you do these steps, you do all these things, that you'll be returned to sanity. And I was like, what if you've never been there? Like, what do you mean returned to sanity? I don't remember ever being sane. So, but I don't know, man. It's crazy how you go through these steps in life, and there's moments and I wrote a chapter in my book about it, and it's called Surrender. And that was one of those moments where I had to surrender, man. I had to surrender my entire life to some dude I barely knew. I didn't know him that well, but I knew him well enough. I had to surrender and get super honest with me for not the first time, but it was a big time. I was like, oh my God.
Now, isn't this the guy that went on to float you a $20 bill that changed your life?
No.
That was somebody else. Okay. Because I know you said that 20 changed your life.
Well, that was later. That was down the road, another probably year or better, a couple of years.
Right. Well, at Christmas, just so you know, I'm going to give you kind of a preview. I was planning to send you $10 and just a $10 bill. And when you said to me, hey, the 20 changed my life, I upped my plan to 25.
It was the 20 backed by the get out of my house, get your own place, figure your shit out. Like,
Hey,
go.
can you crawl back up, because Robert, there were a couple in a row and you didn't get Roberts, and Susan,
Sorry,
my friend Susan Laurel Rose is here, and she
I
said
love
something
her. She's
beautiful.
amazing.
One of the people I miss most at my school is my custodian. She made it to her mission. She made it her mission to make every person she encountered feel like $1,000,000. She told me I was beautiful every day. She just uplifts others everywhere she goes. She sends me cards. She buys me little gifts every holiday. It's just a blessing to know someone who lives her life that way. Yes,
That's amazing.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's amazing.
And what about Charles up before that? And then Donovan Blanks illuminate his. Hello, Leona. He said something brilliant. He says, don't think less of yourself, but think of yourself less.
Yep.
And I've heard that said before. So I know that's not original, but I love that he shared it. I love that came out of the archives. Really,
sorry,
really.
I kind of went off on a long story tangent.
Not nearly as long as the one I went off on earlier. So you got all sorts of privileges, bud. This little keeper, that's Robert explaining his challenges.
One night stands are not relationships. I know, but I had to paint it with that brush, dude.
It was one that he left at 11:26 your time.
Yeah, right. Oh, who did?
Robert Brooker at 11:26 your time.
Here it is.
I loved when I finished working and walked across the platform to take the northbound train home. I was ramped up and felt like king of the world. And I was out among, I guess that is, my loyal subjects and loved them deeply. So on the train, I would adjust my posture to be like William Riker. That's a character from Star Trek, for those of you that don't know, and do the Riker all the way to the front of the train. Nice.
Justin Benton, did we put his up there? But he's right.
So when you say doing a Riker, are you talking about putting your leg over the chair? Because that's how Riker would sit in a chair. Yeah, the secret is going from selfish to selfless. Indeed.
Every man's a liar, just another hard reality.
Can you put on some more? Thank you, Sammy, for that. Can you put on some more of these that we can look at? But
yeah, spiritual for sure. That is why I kept knee pads, sleeping bag in the trunk of my car. I'm not sure what that means.
Probably to be grateful and to be on his knees.
Oh, but don't ever
to be humble and
without knowing who is competing with you.
I'm not sure what that means, Patricia. We may have widely varied thoughts on competition. One of the policies I have in my school is I don't allow any of the students to compete with each other, but I tell them upon entering the school that the only competition that will be allowed at this school will be you competing with previous versions of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's it, because it's unimportant to me for someone to be the best scene of the night or the most dialed in actor or the one who was the most off book or any of those things. I just want to see growth within the human being.
Look who we've got from over on Twitch.
Yes.
We have Hyena.
Hyena always has humorous things to say. Only this one's quite profound. I'm always busy trying to get out of my way.
Yeah.
Well, it's a noble mission, my friend. Ken, I want to add a thought about why being of service works. So we didn't explore that. We identified that it does work. We know that it works. I actually think it is directly linked to self-esteem, as I do all things. I think that self-esteem is the very thing that governs the trajectory. And this won't be one of my long-winded monologues, I promise. It's a very simple one. It's simply this. When we do things that are nice, I'll use such a simple and yet perfect word. When we do things that are nice and we come from love and kindness, those are all words that are very, very dear to my heart. Another one there in my heart is fairness, right? I love people that are fair. So when we do things that are nice, what happens is on the backside, it actually hits during the act. It even hits when we have the thought at a metabolical level. Molecularly, things start shifting when we have a thought of being nice. So for example, and again, I'm not being woo-woo foo-foo. I mean this. The moment I had the thought that I needed to go into my mom's house and get these cool drinks, cold even, and bring them out, I already started feeling good. Does that make sense, Ken?
Yep.
Like the action was underway.
Yep.
So I'm already receiving the blessing of activating this thought and putting it into motion. And I haven't even gotten to the refrigerator yet. And if you could calibrate my vibration, and I was already calibrating high, I was in an extraordinarily good mood. And now it has even jumped up from where it was, which was way, way up there already. I'm trying to get an up there. It was already up here. And now we're going even higher.
I just want to say bye to Ron. He's leaving.
Oh, good night, Ron.
Love you, bro. Thank you.
I'll make this quick, Ron. If you can last another 90 seconds or so, it'll be worth hearing. Might really rock your boat. So the action produced a metabolical shift. And now when I physically hand them the drinks, it gets stronger and I go even higher. And when we do these things as a way of life, whatever it is, whatever your good deeds are, whatever your kindnesses are, whatever your niceness looks like, as we engage life at this level, we actually begin to like who we are even more. We like who we are, and we wind up earning our own approval, right? So whether we intentionally do this or not, the reality is, as human beings, we hold opinions about our own behavior. We have opinions about it. And then we, at an unspoken and unconscious level, set up a corresponding life that someone like this would deserve. And there are a lot of psychologists that have talked extensively about this, but I think that self-esteem is linked to deservedness, and deservedness is linked to manifestation. So if we look in the mirror and we like the person, I mean, really like the person, like we admire, and I think what it comes down to, so before you start thinking of it as an extensive swim in Lake Me, what it really means is you are someone, when you look at the mirror and say, you are someone that I would want playing on my team. That's simple. That in a team sport of life, you would go, I would choose you. I would select you. I would select you because you have a team consciousness. I would want you on my team. Please, let's wear the same uniform. When that's your opinion of you, I'll promise you your next move, whether it be intentional or unintentional, your next move from that point where you look in the mirror and you really do love that human in front of you, then you will officially from that point moving forward not settle in any area of your life, because you will believe that that person deserves more than that.
Yep.
That person deserves more than you simply settling or tolerating. You know, I have a sticker on my, I wish I had my luggage with me upstairs, but I don't. I keep it downstairs in the bedroom. But I have about 6 stickers with on my suitcase that Catherine Hill helped me put there. And there's this beautiful shop in Nashville where we buy these motivational stickers. And one of them says, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And so when we realize that we celebrate that which we're looking at, then we wind up issuing ourselves good lives because we believe, and by good, I mean great, I mean fantastic, I mean dreamy lives. Yes, room 3 and 4, Ari, thank you. Yep. Ken knows what you're talking about there.
I do.
But we issue ourselves lives that we believe that person in the mirror deserves. So again, for your review, not yours, but everybody here, it's self-esteem becomes deservedness, becomes manifestation, right? So we see that we deserve, and deserve means also maybe don't deserve. So if we have a low approval rating of ourselves when we look in the mirror, then we also will have a corresponding opinion about what someone like that with a low approval rating deserves, which is not much. He doesn't deserve much. And then we unconsciously go about creating the life that person does not deserve. So it's all deservedness. I've seen it work time and time and time again.
I was watching my friend Sharon Lecter today. She did a live stream in her private group, and she's amazing, an amazing lady. She wrote Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill, and she's amazing. She did Think and Grow Rich for Women. She's the co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. And she's just an amazing lady. And she said, you know, I want to talk about a word today. And that word, and I loved it.
What was the word?
Grace.
Yep.
And I think that,
yep,
you know, and the word grace is the essence of the Christian faith, right? That we're saved by grace, that we are all given this grace. And so many of us, because for me, the hardest thing for me, man, with all of the mistakes, all the mistakes I made, and I mean, obviously we all make mistakes, right? You don't get sober and suddenly stop making mistakes. It's then, you know, because the word sober, I heard, is an acronym for son of a bitch, everything's real, because you're no longer anesthetized and you're like, oh my God, this is how people see the world. Like, it's real, you know, but I had the hardest it was so easy for me to forgive others for the wrongs that they had done to me. And I found that when I made amends to the people I had caused harm to, that they were pretty open. They were pretty open to forgiving me. The hardest one was me forgiving me.
Why, Ken?
Because of the self-talk that I had done for so many years, you know, I mean, that we all go through the conversations we have with ourselves, and, you know, making mistake after mistake after mistake, and error after error, hurting people, and doing the things that I did as a raging alcoholic. You know, I had a hard time forgiving myself. And I think that everybody goes through that. You know, it wasn't until I was listening to Sharon today talk about grace, and grace is the root word for, you know, gratitude and being grateful. And when I finally sat down and I got out of the poor me BS, and I got into the, what do I have to be grateful for? And how can I bless the world? How can I bless others? You know,
yes,
the grandiosity in me wanted to go, well, there's 7.5 billion people. Let's see how we can bless them all right now. Right. It was the grow. Like,
but wasn't it that same night that you began the Ken Walls talk show so that you could bless the entire world?
Right. No, but I, you know, I think that's one of the things that I wanted to, you know, I wanted to prove to myself that I was okay, that I was safe, that I had recovered. I had, you know, and again, it goes back to, it's a process. It's not an event. And you know, are there people that figure it out early in life and have yeah, of course, but that's not the majority. And I think that the majority fumble through life, and we make mistakes, and we go, well, shit, I'm never going to recover from that one. And then we do, and we figure it out, and we keep going. And, you know, we go from what the title of this show is tonight. We go from madness into greatness. And we only achieve that greatness by learning that we are saved by grace.
That's good.
Whatever that grace is. I don't care how you define it religiously. That grace is all part of gratitude.
I think grace is an unearned extension of generosity. It's unearned. It's the heavens, it's others being generous to you.
Yeah.
Despite whether you earned it or not, you're given the grace.
Right.
That says, how about this, Ken? I love you, and here's an arm anyway.
Right.
Despite what you said, despite what you did,
Yeah.
I love you, and here's an arm and a helping hand and some love anyway.
Right.
And are we that way with other people? Because it is done unto us. I mean, even if I may skew spiritual for one moment,
Yeah.
I think we better be careful with the Lord's Prayer. Now, I'm a fan. I'm truly a fan, but I think we better break out the markers. I think we better break out the highlighters and highlight one line from that prayer. And it says in that prayer, forgive us our trespasses, right? In some versions of the Bible, it's different. Forgive us our transgressions. I've heard
most people. Yeah.
But most I've heard, the most common one is forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. The single most dynamic word in that sentence is the word guess.
Oh, yeah.
Was that what you were going to guess?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I talked about this.
Let's break that down and focus on that, because if we are saying forgive us our trespasses as we forgive, that's actually not a prayer some people want to be praying.
Right.
Like, that's the worst possible thing they could be saying if they suck at forgiving others.
Right.
If your pattern has shown that you have not been good at all at extending grace, and you're saying, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive. So if you suck at forgiveness, you're essentially saying, I'd like to be shown that same courtesy. And I don't think people stop and really consider that basically those things are going to be felt in our own lives to the extent that we offer them to others.
Yeah.
As we, and we keep going back to, how am I showing up? Am I showing up in this way that I am seeking to have the heavens show up for me, the cosmos, the heavens, God, whatever you want to call it? It doesn't matter. I think it starts with how we show up. And if we're extending grace to others, we will be shown grace. And I even believe that we will be, the truest meaning of grace is that we are shown a measure of grace, whether we do or not. Whether we do or not, that even if we don't show grace, we are shown grace, which is the very epitome of the word.
Yeah.
Right. So we're out not showing grace, and despite our behavior, we are still shown grace, because that's what it means to show grace. And grace has nothing to do with deservedness.
I have.
Did someone quote me when I said suck at forgiveness?
When I've sponsored people or coached people, I say, you have to forgive the people who've caused you harm. Like, you have to. They're like, I'm not going to forgive, The Lord's Prayer says, as we forgive others, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who've trespassed against us, right? As, and you just said it, it doesn't say forgive us our trespasses and then.
Right. That's right.
Right. It says, forgive us our trespasses by the same means, in the same manner
that we do it.
Which
is a horrific prayer to pray for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
In fact, someone could look up mid-sentence and go, you know what? Cancel that last line.
Right.
I want to do a rewrite. I want to do a rewrite on that last line. Yeah. It's funny.
Well, dude, our numbers are way down now. We've been on 2 hours.
Yeah, we made the mistake of over serving the ice cream. That's okay. It was good stuff.
No, we didn't. It's been fun, man. This has been great. And something weird is happening on Twitch. I don't know what this means. We're being rated on Twitch. I don't even know what that means.
Rated or rated?
Rated. RAID.
It would be interesting to see if we were rated. I'd love to see what our rating was tonight.
I don't know what, but anyway, so Susan says, what's really interesting is that forgiving ourselves frees me, but forgiving others, though people may think it frees the other person, frees me as well.
Here,
Amen.
It does.
Charles said, damn good ice cream.
Awesome, Charles.
Thank you, dude.
That's certainly what our hearts are here to do.
It's so hard because some people keep hurting you because they don't learn. Well, here, can I address that?
You're the one that was trying to wrap up the show. I got nowhere to be. Yes, go.
Well, I just want to address that real quick. If it's hard because some people are still hurting you and you've confronted those people that are hurting you and saying, hey, your behavior doesn't work for me. I need you to change. And if you can't change the behavior, I'm out. And you've confronted it and you've done everything that you can do, then it's time to go. There are times if there's somebody in your life causing you pain and you've pointed it out more than once, then it's no longer their fault. I'm sorry, but it's not their fault. If it's happening over and over and over, it's like the burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, you just, and again, that takes, unfortunately, we only learn from our own pain. You've got to feel the pain. And at some point, oh, good. She said, I have definitely eliminated them. Perfect.
At some point, you finish your drive through the town of Tiredesville and you get to the town of Dunsville and you make adjustments. And if we don't, then it is on us.
And I mean, you go through
the evidence is there and a pattern has been clearly established.
Yeah.
And the person is not as committed to a breakthrough as you are. I agree with Ken. Then if it's been established, it's been talked about and no change has occurred, then it's time to move on or stop complaining about it.
And that's, you know, again, that's all part of what we originally said. And we're originally talking about the law of attraction. Well, the law of attraction is like, here, let's see what Justin says. The universe supports what supports it. So if you're doing what's for the greater good, you'll be supported in ways that you may not be able to explain. Amen and amen.
Yes. It's the very essence of the law of attraction.
Absolutely the truth, man. So, you know, if you were in a bad relationship, it's even if it's family and you've disconnected and you're out, you're done. You've gone through the town. What'd you call it? The town of Tiredesville.
Yes, you've driven through the town of Tiredesville, and now you've entered the city limits of Dunsville.
Right, and then you're going to go through the tunnel of I'm outsville. Like I'm out of here. Like you got to, but you know, you have to also. Somebody said to me one time that, and I was in a really bad relationship, and somebody said, if you stay in a relationship with a really, really sick person, that makes you sicker than them. And I was like, wow, I never really thought about that like that. But if you stay in a relationship, whether it's family or not, with a really sick person that only causes you harm and pain, that makes you sicker than them. And you got to let go. You got to move on. You got to write down what you want. Mark Victor Hansen talks about it, and he's brought it up a bunch of times, writing out a list of exactly what you want and who you want and what they look like and what, the list of everything you want in that person, and not settling for anything less than that.
Right. It's hard to believe, though, Ken. It's hard to believe that we've been on 2 hours and 20 minutes. And if you look up at Leona's second to the last comment up here, she calls us, no, it's right up above Susan's comment.
Oh.
Look at Susan's about forgiving people who aren't on this earth anymore.
Okay.
Are you still talking about I missed a good time, love your conversation? Yeah, we are. We're wrapping it up, though. Yeah, is that Leona still thinks we're really just a bunch of bullies?
Not us.
And we've been talking from our hearts for 2 hours to try to debunk that myth. I'm playing.
She's not talking.
I'm playing.
Mike.
Good God, you're easy to play with.
Dude, what the? I'm like,
wait,
what?
Let me do my impression of you.
Thanks for stopping by, Glenn.
Oh, I was going to duck out.
Yeah,
I knew she wasn't, but I thought I'd have a little fun when I saw that comment. Really a bunch of bullies. Leona, I knew you weren't talking about us, honey. I was just playing. Oh, that's good. How about the town of Reliefsville?
Yeah.
And Susan's comment, she says, you can also forgive people who aren't on this earth anymore. It's hard to do because you don't get a response, but it's almost more empowering because you do it for yourself. Yes. Yeah. Even after people have left the earth, you can still do the spiritual homework that needs to be done in order to release their grip on you.
Yeah.
Because if they've left, it's a good idea to allow that to be the case instead of continuing to take up real estate, painful sections of your life. In that way, when forgiving them and releasing them can be all the difference in the world.
Dude, we're down to like
4 people. Okay, let's go. Good night.
Not 4, but it's getting low.
Well, let's say good night.
But they're the most important people in the world. They're still
those people.
Well, thank you guys, all of you, and everyone who shared this out. You rock. Glenn and I just want to come on here and
one night we're going to have a conversation where we talk and then we go live and it's packed and we have great participation and we just keep talking until they all go away and the conversation was just back to the way it started, was just the 2 of us. And I think this might be that night.
No. We're okay. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh, Robert says, and just in case anyone is looking for a perspective from Tokyo on a Sunday morning, I don't know how to pronounce that. Hiko Simon is the channel name. Tokyo.
Hiko-saman.
Okay.
Yeah. Watashi wa Nihongo ga skoshi hanasemasen. I just said I speak a little Japanese.
I thought you said I'd like that with wheat toast and a side of bacon. Tokyo Tonight is the program name on YouTube. Okay.
Justin, thanks for being here, man. Justin's been with us the whole time too. Wow.
Nice. It has me wonder, like, what are people doing when we come on? I mean, what were they doing?
They were watching 24, of course.
Were they reading a book? Were they out breaking concrete in front of their houses? Were there? I've often wondered this. How many people have stopped sex to watch our show? Oh man, I can't finish right now. We got to watch Ken and Glenn. They're on.
Oh my God.
What are people?
Crazy, man.
What were you guys doing? Let's take 60 more seconds. Just 3 people, please tell me what you were doing.
Look, Rihanna says, what if we never go away?
What were you doing when you decided, hey, look at our goofball friends. Let's go participate in one of their conversations.
Look, he was watching the Mets lose.
Okay, so Justin's the first one in. And if you're a Mets fan, then that makes sense. Oh, I swear, Leona, listen, my mind is messed up.
Did you just say if you're a Mets fan, that makes sense?
Right, that you would want to stop watching that occur if they're losing. And then I looked up and you flashed it so quickly. I thought Leona said, I just finished screwing for the day. I swear that's what, and I went, blah, 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 and I looked at it and went, oh, sewing.
Oh my God, you're killing me, dude. Oh my
funny.
God.
Leona, I'm glad it was sewing that you were doing.
Hyena was restoring an image from the 1940s.
Honestly, if you can make love all day long, girlfriend, that's impressive.
Ari was
folding laundry.
Oh
Susan,
my God.
What were you doing when Charles says he was having sex? See, this is a fun topic. Just find out what people were doing when we showed up.
Oh, that is too funny,
Let's see
man.
what did Hyena say what they were doing?
Huh?
Did Hyena say what they were doing?
Yeah. Restoring an image from the 1940s.
Oh, okay.
Nice. About to record a new training. We'll do it in the morning.
Bleach Sauce says that they had power washed their colon. We need to do this on Sunday night. I'm going to pose the question because this is phenomenal.
Oh my God.
Susan says she
Susan
was
says I was not. Oh, okay. I think we're being spammed over there. So
yeah, I think so.
All right. Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. And
I was disempowering a jackwagon.
Disempoweling.
Oh, disempoweling. I can't even read tonight.
Oh my God.
Well, Yasmin told me to wear my glasses. So with that in mind, I'm going to put them on and tell you, sir, how much I love and appreciate you. You are my dear brother from another mother. And I love what we do together in our friendship. And I love we get to go live and venture into the hearts and minds of a whole lot of people a couple of times a week. It's one of the great blessings of my lifetime.
It's amazing, dude.
You guys go out and have a beautiful week. And we will be back like a team of people that won't go away on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 p.m. on the West Coast for the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott.
A guy named Scott. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
Soon, guys. Mwah.